Hello everyone, in this video we are going to discuss about the functional anatomy of the eye. This functional anatomy of the eye is our first lecture in the visual system. Now we are discussing our special senses. Out of that, this is the first video, that is the functional anatomy of an eye. And all of us know that eye is such a beautiful organ. It is able to perceive a tremendous amount of color and it is able to make out the world. So it is rightly called as the brain's window for the world. And it has evolved from the primitive light sensitive parts. Initially in minor organisms also, they are also able to sense the colors and light, but it is not that well developed like a human eye. Ours is such a complex system of eye and it is able to appreciate such beautiful meaning of the world and such beautiful colors also. So it is a complex sense organ in humans. Then what does it do? It does the process of phototransduction. What is phototransduction? It is the ability of the eye to convert the simple light, absorbed light, into a meaningful neural signals. For this to happen, we need two systems. One is the optical part and another one is the neural part. What is this optical part? These are the systems in the eye which gather the light and focus it on the retina to form an image. And what is the neural part? Neural part is the one which is able to convert this optical image, that is this light source, into a neural code and it send it to the brain so that it makes a meaning out of the stimulus that is received. So coming to the structures of the eye, what is the basic structure of the eye? Here we are not going to discuss the intricate details of the eye. Here we are just going to see the functional anatomy which is going to help us to understand the physiological process. So coming to the three layers of the eye, these are the three most important layers of the eye. First, starting with the outermost layer, which is the sclera. The sclera is the outermost layer. As you can see here, this is the outermost layer and it acts as a protective layer. It is whitish in color and it does not allow any light to pass through it. So how does the light enter? Anteriorly, this sclera is converted into a thin transparent membrane called as the cornea. So this thin transparent membrane is the cornea, and in the sclera part, only through this cornea the light will enter. The rest of the sclera is not transparent. So this cornea is the one light enters. And coming to the additional part, which is again the sclera, part of sclera only, in the periphery of the cornea, the sclera is again thinned out to form a mucous membrane. That is called as the conjunctiva. This conjunctiva is like an additional protective layer to the sclera itself. So this is the sides of the layer, which is the conjunctiva. Then coming to the second layer, which is the next layer, it is called as the choroid. What is this choroid? This is just a vascular layer and it is so important that it is the one which is providing the oxygen and nutrients to the entire optical system. And coming to the innermost layer, that is our famous retina. The retina is the region which collects the signals and they try to convert the signals into a neural signal. So that is the three most important layers in the eye. Now coming to the other structures, we will see structures in the front and we will see structures at the back. So first, coming to the structures at the front, the most important structure which is converging the eye's light rays is the lens system. This entire central part is the lens system. This lens is a transparent structure and they help to send the light impulses to the posterior region. And the lens is held in its place. The lens is not just roaming around inside the eye. It is held in place with the help of suspensory ligament. That is also called as zonules, which is called as lens suspensory ligaments, which in turn is attached to the ciliary body. So the lens is kept in place with the help of suspensory ligaments and the ciliary body. Then coming to the in front of the lens, there are some muscular layers. That is the pigmented and opaque layer. And inside this pigmented and opaque layer, we have the muscles. What is this layer called as? It is called as the iris. And iris is the one which gives color to the eyeballs. And this can contract as well as dilate. So contraction is done with the help of sphincter muscles, which is a part of iris, and dilation is helped with the radial muscles. This constriction of the eyeball or the pupil we will see what is pupil, is called as the miosis, and dilation is called as the mydriasis. So these are done with the help of iris. And there is one more combination of structure which is specifically termed the ciliary body, iris and the choroid layer. Choroid layer we already saw, it is the vascular layer. So all these three together, it is called as uvea. And most of the times all the three are infected together and inflammation happens together. So that's why they have been grouped together into one category, that is the uvea, and inflammation in them is called as uveitis. Now coming to the structures which are present in the front itself, Another thing, this circular layer which is formed in the center of the iris is called as the pupil. Pupil is nothing but like a shutter in the camera through which the light can enter, and we are able to adjust the focus with the help of this pupillary region in the camera also. In a similar manner, this pupil can change the entry of light from, for example, at the minimum constricted point, the minimum constriction of the pupil to the maximum. When you see, it can increase the amount of light to 16 times. So basically it is acting like a horn in the camera. And there are two muscles. In this section we are able to see only two muscles, that is the superior rectus and the inferior rectus. There are several other muscles also which we are not going to discuss it. So coming to the structures which are in the back. The most important structure in the back is the optic nerve. In the retina, all the impulses are collected and they exit the orbit through the optic nerve at the back. As you can see here, this is the optic nerve which is exiting it. Through the optic nerve itself, there is entry of two more structures, which is the central artery and the central vein, which is going to supply the internal structures of the eye. The region where the optic nerve exits is also called as the optic disc. So the region where the optic nerve exits is called as optic disc. In this optic disc region, there is no presence of any rods and cones. So they will not be able to sense any image. That's why they are called as blind spot, and it is also called as physiological blind spot. And just near to the optic nerve itself, there is another region which is called as fovea centralis, So this is the structure, and you can see here on the above structure, we have put the image of the ophthalmoscope. So whenever we are able to image the ophthalmoscope, we will see the structures like this. And this region which I am highlighting now is the optic nerve exit region. And from there you can see the central artery and the veins which are entering the eye. And there is another region here which is darker in shade. This region there are some yellowish type of cells which is called as macula. So there is a region which is called as macula, and inside this macular region only we have the fovea centralis. What is so special about this fovea centralis? This fovea centralis is one region which is completely free of the rods. They just have the cones, and there are no blood vessels also. There is very minimal amount of blood vessels present in this region. So what is the advantage of this? It is the one which is providing the central vision, and the maximum visual acuity is present in this region only. The fovea centralis has maximum visual acuity because of its rod free zone, as well as it is not hindered by the blood vessels. So these are the reasons why the fovea centralis has the maximum visual acuity. Now coming to the another system which is called as the aqueous system in the eye. Inside the eye we have some of the water system, that is called as the aqueous system, and this aqueous system is basically classified into anterior cavity and posterior cavity. Inside the anterior cavity also, it is further divided into posterior chamber and anterior chamber. The region which is in the front is called as the anterior chamber, and the region which is just behind it is called as the posterior chamber, and both of them are connected through the pupil. What is pupil? Pupil is the circular region which is formed by the iris, and it is just the connection between the anterior and the posterior chamber. And behind we have the posterior cavity, which is also called as the vitreous chamber, because it has some fluid which is called as vitreous humor. So coming to the fluids which are present here, how these fluids are secreted. In the aqueous system, the ciliary body, already we have seen this, the ciliary body not only supports the lens system, but also it produces the aqueous humor. This aqueous humor is produced, and this is a clear protein free liquid, and from the posterior chamber it can directly communicate with the anterior chamber with the help of pupil. And once they are produced, what will happen is their production is continuous, so there should be some way to reabsorb it also. Otherwise what will happen? There will be excess of fluid. So the reabsorption happens at the region of canal of Schlemm. In our further lectures, we might study a condition called as glaucoma, and one of the most important reason for that glaucoma is there is a rise in intraocular pressure, and one commonest reason is the blockage of this canal of Schlemm. This canal of Schlemm, if it is blocked, what will happen? There will be a rising in production of the aqueous humor, and there will be a raised intraocular pressure which is leading on to the glaucoma condition. Then in the vitreous humor, the one important thing we should understand is it doesn't have blood vessels. That's why whenever light is passing through it, it is able to reach through the retina. So all the blood supply happens at the peripheral regions only, not inside this vitreous humorous region. So that is one advantage, so that light is not hindered by any of the blood vessels. So this gives the basic knowledge of the functional anatomy of the eye. We are going to see all the visual process in the upcoming videos. Thank you for watching the video. Subscribe to the channel if you like the video and share it to your friends. Thank you so much.